I can't believe it. You've made it to step 4. You are on your way to being a guitar tech Jedi. All right, we're on step number 4. We're almost done. The next step is to adjust the overall height of the strings above the fretboard. Now, earlier we were testing to see when the string was held down here and there, how straight the neck is. We want it as straight as possible, but not too straight that it's so flat you get buzz everywhere. But now what we're going to do is adjust how, in normal playing mode, how far the strings are from the fretboard. What we do now is we can take a gauge like this. This is my favorite. It's made by Baroque.
And as I always say, if it's not Baroque, don't fix it.
And it has all kind of great writings all over it. I use the millimeter metric guide from mine. Now here's how it works. Let me show you. This is what I'm going to use right here. This shows me the string depth, all right? On the back, it's great because right on the back, it tells you for the type of instrument you have, electric guitar, and the average distance between the string and the fret right here should be between 1.5 to 2 millimeters. And on the high string, the high E, 1.0 to 1.5. And it has acoustic guitar and bass guitar. This is great. Simply hold the guitar up like this, okay? Take the gauge you like to use, which is this one here, the millimeter, and you want to look and see where the string comes to on these dashed lines. I go to the 12th fret. That's where I think is best because it's right around the middle of the neck. And I see it looks like the action on this is super low at 1.25 millimeters.
No way.
Which is great because that means it's easier to play. That's on the low end. Now the gauge says it should be from 1.5 to 2, but if it works without buzzing at 1.25, leave it alone. Right? Okay, let's go on the high end. And that one is coming in at right around 1 millimeter, which is what they consider to be the lowest. And I love that. Now, I'm not going to adjust my string height, but if I had to, and you can do it, you have to have one of these little tiny crazy Allen wrenches. And you adjust these little screws right here in the bridge, right? Different bridges may have a different setup, but this one has adjustable saddle heights. You turn them clockwise to raise the string. You want to do both about the same. You don't want it to be all whacked and like tilted. You want this little saddle to lay flat wherever it is. So if you have to adjust the action on your strings and you have fully adjustable saddles like this, you want to take what's called a neck radius gauge and help you figure out what the curvature of the neck is. What we're going to do is we take these gauges and we're going to put them under the string and try to match up the curve of the fretboard as best as possible. There are ways you can look up on company websites. They'll tell you what the arch of the neck is. But we're going to find this out in person right now.
Wow.
I'm going to guess, as a rough starting point, it's a 9.5, but we'll find out. Now, take this, carefully put it under the strings, and come up here, and just stand it up. Okay, there's still space in the middle, like between the fretboard and the bar, this testing gauge, so it's telling me it's a little flatter. So I tried 9.5. The higher the number, the flatter the neck is. Put it in there, underneath the strings, slide it up in here, stand it up. Ooh, baby, that's a perfect 10. We got a 10 here. This is a 10-degree radius. What we want to do is we want to make sure when we make any adjustments to the string heights that they follow the gauge. So let's take the 10. I'm holding it here on the strings right at the bridge, and whoever set this up before did a good job. It matches right in line with what it should be. I'm not going to adjust any, but I will tell you how you do it. So let's say this high E string was too low and it was the gauge read like 0.5 millimeters or something crazy, and you play it and you hear all kind of buzz. Well, that means you have to raise it up. So let's do that. I'm going to put it in here, turn these little screws. I'm just going to do one full turn right now in each one. And that looks a little crooked, so I'm going to make them look straight, right? Put the gauge on there and make sure you didn't go too out of whack. No, I did. I went way too high. I'm going to lower it back down. I go lefty-loosey, put it back down to where it was. There it is, back in line. Love it. All right. Once you have the strings adjusted to the correct plane of the fretboard, and you are comfortable with the action that you have by testing it with a capo and your finger here, then you want to go and check for any kind of buzzing all the way up and down the fretboard. All the strings. If you hear any buzzing, then there's a lot of things you may have to do, but for now, let's assume that you don't have that buzzing. There is a way to check what's causing it. It could be low, too low of action, too much tension on the back of the neck, or a bigger problem, which is not impossible but needs some work, is if you have some inconsistent frets. If any of the frets are higher or lower than one another, you're going to have problems. So what we use is the fret rocker tool. It's just a little piece of metal, really. And all you do is you take it and start here and you slide up the fretboard, and you make sure that there's no high spots where it causes this to jump over, or low spots where it causes it to sink. Right now I haven't seen any. It seems to be good right there. If you do have high frets or frets that are lower than others, that is when you need to do a fret job. I'll have a video on that probably within the next few weeks. But for now, let's assume you don't have to do a fret job. Now it's time to move on to the last step, and that is intonation of the guitar.